Eric Branos for the Coach Speak Index. What's up? What's going on? How are y'all doing? Are you feeling nicey? I always knew that that there was a chance that social media would ruin my brain for good. I did not think that it would be John Gruden who would be the tipping point. Knock on wood if you're with me. Guys, this is tough. I don't like to get political. Please don't turn this off. Just allow me to say this one thing, okay? If you are not playing on Underdog Fantasy, what the hell is wrong with you, man? There are only 3 weeks left to qualify for the Dog Bowl. 3 people qualify every week. They get $10,000 apiece. They all get a ticket to the Dog Bowl. They each get their own individual ticket to the Dog Bowl. They don't have to do a planes, trains, and automobiles type thing. They each one, don't worry, they've got it covered. I know you were thinking maybe it's a blind spot for Underdog. Do they know the ticket for? Yes. Each of those 3 people gets a ticket to the Dog Bowl in Dallas, where $1 million in prizes are up for grabs, $200,000 to first place. And the best part is you'll get to hobnob with all the fine Underdog folks and Underdog drafters. Last year looked like so much fun. I will not be there in person this year in Dallas. I will be astral projecting, though. I've been working on that quite a bit lately. Have not gotten too far yet. I've made it as far as my front door. May have been sleepwalking, but we'll keep working on it. I'll get as close to Dallas as I can. I'll throw my spirit towards Dallas. You can sign up on Underdog with promo code CoachSpeak to claim a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick'em. That is linked in the description. Okay, let's kick it off with some injury talk. Falcons head coach Raheem Morris said Drake London is still day-to-day with a hip injury. Morris said he feels really good about it when it comes to Drake London's progress. Morris has a 75% reliability rating on injury coach speak. Chance that Drake London goes this week. If not, I imagine the week after that. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn was asked about Brian Robinson Jr.'s hamstring injury. He said all signs are pointing in the right way. We are really going to push it this week and make sure he can respond in the right way. Quinn said that they'll have a better assessment after Wednesday and Thursday practices. Quinn has an 85% reliability rating on injury coach speak. Brian Robinson Jr. was a game-time decision in Week 9, so imagine probably a pretty good shot that he plays in Week 10. Colts head coach Shane Steichen said Michael Pittman's back issue is a week-to-week thing. We'll keep monitoring it. Said that he knows his body better than anyone. He's battling through it. He wants to be out there with his teammates. And yeah, if you've been watching Michael Pittman Jr. play football and you didn't know about the back injury, maybe you thought, hey, what's going on with Michael Pittman Jr.? Yeah, it's the back injury. He's dealing with the back injury. He's fighting through it. Might should give that guy a rest. Let him heal up to 100%, so he doesn't look like the shell of Michael Pittman. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid stated that Isaiah Pacheco and Juju Smith-Schuster are both doing great and are making progress. Said that we're getting close with them. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson was not at practice on Tuesday. Head coach John Harbaugh said that Lamar will be playing Thursday night. Harbaugh declared last week that we're going to see this all season long, where they hold Lamar out of practice to keep him healthy throughout the season. This has been, I mean, we've seen it with Lamar in previous seasons where, near the end of the season, he gets worn down a little bit. And this is a guy who's literally running all over the place on the field, whether it's a rush or escaping pressure, but sees a lot of contact. And yeah, let's Lamar's got the playbook down. We can rest him a little bit through the week, and we're seeing more and more teams do this sort of thing with some of their players. Bills wide receiver Keon Coleman is in danger of missing this week with a wrist/arm injury. Head coach Sean McDermott said, "I think it could be more than just this week, but we'll see. The evaluation is still ongoing here." And then finally, 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan said that Christian McCaffrey was good on Monday. We didn't expect him to do too much, but he had no pain. He was good on Tuesday, and we're excited to get him out there today on Wednesday. Shanahan was asked when the decision will be made on whether McCaffrey plays, and he said kickoff will be that's when the public decision will be made, and he had a nice laugh about that. And they also asked him what he needs to see or hear from McCaffrey for McCaffrey to be a go, and Shanahan said, quote, that he's just Christian and he's not hurting as long as everything goes well. It has in the rehab, just so as long as he doesn't get sore and have setbacks each day in practice. Hopefully he can string 3 days in a row and not have any of those. So we will keep our eyes out for 3 straight days of practice in a row with no setbacks. And finally, Shanahan was asked whether Christian McCaffrey will have his old workload if he looks like his old self. And Shanahan said, yeah, definitely could, but also definitely might not. So thank you for that, Kyle. We appreciate and love and salute you for your service to Coach Speak. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's start today with running backs. This is before Tennessee's Week 9 game. This is offensive coordinator Nick Holtz talking about their backfield and Tony Pollard.
Was what you were able to do offensively limited at all by Tony being a solo back these last 2 weeks? And just how do you feel like he handled not having a rotation like he does with Tajay normally?
I thought he handled it well, but I also think as time goes on, we need to have Tajay, or whether it's Julius steps up or whoever it is, we need 2 backs because the wear and tear we're putting on Tony right now is significant. So to keep him fresh and to keep him going for the next 10 games, we do need that. But I thought he handled the workload really well, and he's involved in the pass game a little bit, but he really ran it pretty good.
So the workload that he was talking about there was the Week 8 workload where Pollard played 82% of offensive snaps, had 23 touches on 24 opportunities, played just a ton. And then after these comments, Tony Pollard, with Tajay Spears out, played 86% of offensive snaps, 31 touches on 31 opportunities. So when Tajay Spears is out, it's the Tony Pollard show. People thought maybe Julius Chestnut gets involved here. Tony Pollard did not practice throughout the week and just stepped right up on game day, and they gave him this big workload. They talked this week about this is something that we're going to do going forward, is we're going to have to kind of be creative with Tony Pollard in practice, how much of a workload we give him in practice, and we want to give him some rest throughout the week so he's ready on game day. They said it was just so great to see him not practice at all and just step out on the field and go kind of buck wild against New England. They really do want this to be, a split backfield, kind of 50-50 between Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, but Tajay Spears has not been healthy, and they were expecting him back this past week in week 9. Brian Callahan said that, expected him to play. He did not. Callahan said it wasn't really a setback that he suffered, but just wasn't there yet. We'll see if he plays this week, but Tony Pollard getting quite a bit of usage in Tennessee. This is a team that wanted to pass the ball a lot, and their QBs kind of suck. So they're having to go kind of run-centric and rely on Tony Pollard. It's going all right. I mean, he's getting some good yardage, not really scoring many touchdowns. Has 3 on the year in 8 games, all on the ground. This offense just kind of stinks. So a lot of work for Pollard. Not a ton of fantasy points, and then when Tyjae Spears comes back, that's going to cut into Pollard's workload just a bit there, probably quite a bit. Yeah, they want to go 2 backs, but they need Tyjae Spears healthy. They're not just going to go any 2 backs, right? It's not, Tyjae Spears is out, Tony Pollard and Julius Chestnut. No, it's Tony Pollard. And then if Tony Pollard gets hurt, Tyjae Spears is healthy, we probably see kind of the reverse, right? Of mainly Tyjae Spears. So that is the situation in Tennessee. And this is the situation in New York with the Giants. This was before Week 9's game as well. This is head coach Brian Dable talking about rookie running back Tyrone Tracy Jr.
What do you think has allowed Tracy to have so many I don't know, whatever the definition of explosive is, big runs?
Yeah.
Like 7, 8, 9, 10, and more.
He's a good player. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got power, he's got good vision. I think the plays have been blocked well too, and he's made plays when they aren't blocked, and that's what good running backs need to do too, where it's not perfectly blocked and he can score through even if it's 2 or 3. But I think some of his power and explosiveness has shown up, running through tacklers or making a guy miss in space. He's done a good job. He's earned his playing time, and he'll continue to play. He's performing well, so he's earned what he's getting.
As you've always said, you've been in this league a long time. You see a lot of guys. I mean, there are guys who are identified as traits guys, but that doesn't always translate into performance. Is there something you could point to for Tracy, why he's able to produce this soon when he was really a traits guy? I mean,
yeah. No, I just think the type of guy that he is, he does have all the right, kind of off-field traits, the way he prepares, his intelligence, his commitment to the team, his character. And then I think Joel Thomas has done a great job with him. And he puts a lot of work into it. I think having Motor be there for a sounding board has helped him. And then again, you have to go out there and do it. You work hard in practice, you do all the preparation, and that's important. It's very important, but the most important is how you perform on game day. And he's performed. Continues to perform like that.
Pretty great stuff from Brian Dable there on Tyrone Tracy Jr. Devin Singletary went from a 3-down back in week 1 to Tyrone Tracy's sounding board. Devin Singletary healthy now, and Tyrone Tracy in week 9, after these comments, gets 72% of offensive snaps after 57% the week before. 17 touches here. He is the clear RB1 in New York. He's just a better back. It's not often. Okay. I don't know if I'd say it's rare, but and I don't know the difference between not often and rare, exactly what that difference is. This is a whole like scallywag versus rascal again. But it's okay, we'll say this. It's not that often that Brian Dable, when he's talking about a player, talks about them for a good deal of time, like he did. He usually doesn't give like long, involved answers on guys. Like when he's been asked about Malik Neighbors, who we know is such a special talent, and he's like, "Yeah, Malik Neighbors playing well. He's a good receiver," and like doesn't dig in deep into like, "Hey, this is what makes him a good receiver. This is what we love about him." All that kind of stuff that he's doing about Tyrone Tracy here. Now we do know that he loves Malik Neighbors because of what we saw behind the scenes in Hard Knocks, and talking about Nick Saban told me 2 guys he ever had problems defending. One Brock Bowers, and the other was Malik Neighbors. But this is high praise from Daboll, and most importantly, it's not just words; it's action. It's what Brian Daboll said would happen, ended up happening. He said Tyrone Tracy playing really well. He's earned more touches. He's going to get more touches, and that's exactly what has happened. I don't think I was expecting it to be to this degree. I thought it would probably be more of a, like kind of split-ish backfield, it's 60-40, Tyrone Tracy, something like that. He's just absolutely dominating this backfield here. And again, Devin Singletary, a fine running back. I think he's like right above average running back, although there are more good running backs in the league now. He's probably just an average running back at this point, but he's like fine enough. He's a really good number 2 running back. How about that? So, not going to go away completely, but no doubt here that this is Tyrone Tracy Jr.'s backfield. And he has a really, really nice matchup this week. My goodness, against the Carolina Panthers. Wow. Goodness gracious. Cincinnati Bengals, this is head coach Zach Taylor, asked about whether he is worried about wear and tear on Chase Brown with Zach Moss sidelined. This was right before the Khalil Herbert trade.
You worry about wear and tear on Chase Brown potentially? Being built for a type of run where he's got to carry so much more of the load. I think it's important that you have another guy that can take some of the work off of him, whether that's a couple carries, whether that's some other snaps in some other areas. He has proven that he's a durable guy and can do a lot of stuff for us. So excited to see him in this continued role. And again, we'll always make the best decisions on how we can help him, how we can make the offense, and what backs fit in what situations for us.
Yeah, like I said, Bengals went out and traded for Khalil Herbert. And Zach Taylor said in his press conference yesterday that he thinks Herbert can help in a lot of different ways, that he has had good production in the run game, and he is an able and willing pass protector. The willing part, okay. The able part, not really okay. Khalil Herbert is actually a pretty terrible in pass protection. Taylor also said that we are still gathering information on Zach Moss, but it doesn't look like he'll be back. End quote. Zach Moss dealing with a neck injury and appears to be season ending, possibly career ending. Hate to see that. Saw that with Chris Carson with his neck. Just a real bummer. But for this backfield with Khalil Herbert and Chase Brown now, Khalil Herbert's a very, very good runner. Like, he has excellent vision, really good cuts, fine enough speed. He's not Chase Brown, explosive, but he does have the vision that Chase Brown lacks a little bit. So it'll be very interesting to see how this actually ends up playing out here, and what will the division of goal line carries be. We know Khalil Herbert is is an okay enough goal line back. Chase Brown, we didn't see it last year. We have seen the Bengals use him at the goal line this year, and he is a sturdy back, right around 213 pounds, and he's had good enough success there at the goal line. So yeah, I don't know, what the percentage split will end up being here. The Bengals getting Khalil Herbert here, not good for Chase Brown. I will say that. If they had not made a move, then this was going to be Chase Brown, absolute just work horse role. They don't trust the guys behind him there, which we saw because they went out and traded for Khalil Herbert. But good offense, and we know that Chase Brown will be very, very involved. We might not know the percentage, but it's not like he's going to be phased out of this backfield here. They've talked about his increased role starting in the offseason. Zach Taylor, not reliable on injury coach speak, but he is very reliable, or quite reliable, on player and usage workload coach speak. So we were saying, yeah, Chase Brown will see an increased role here this season for sure. And he saw that even with Zach Moss on the field. And it's super interesting to think about. Like, is this what was a better situation for Chase Brown? Was it when Zach Moss was there, or is it now that Khalil Herbert is there? I feel like Khalil Herbert is, in a way, he's a bigger threat than Chase Brown, or than Zach Moss was to Chase Brown. In the way that he's for sure a better runner. Like, Khalil Herbert is really one of the better runners in the NFL. It's just that his pass protection very bad, and that's where he is not as good as Zach Moss. They really did trust Zach Moss in pass protection and near the goal line, passing downs. I don't know if that's going to be the case with Khalil Herbert. Okay. Denver Broncos. We got a report last week from Tracy Wolfson that Sean Payton was going to use Audric Estime more in week 9, and through 3 quarters, Estime had no touches. And in a blowout loss, only ended up getting, I believe, 5 carries in the 4th quarter. Here is Sean Payton after that game later in the week, and he was asked about Audric Estime again.
In that regard, Coach, is there any chance that we'd see more of Estime moving forward? I know protecting the ball is part of this, but any chance then as you look at the running game moving forward?
I think that's a good and fair question, and one that I think I would answer yes.
Okay, let's talk about this situation real quick, because so you heard how the question is asked there, right? Is there any chance we see more of Audric Estime moving? We got these reports and tweets and stuff on this day when Sean Payton said this. Sean Payton says Audric Estime getting more carries. Well, that's not really the spirit of what happened here. Sean Payton was asked, is there any chance we see more of Audric Estime moving forward? I think that's a good and fair question, and one that I think I would answer yes. That's not like super strong conviction talking there, but it was reported, and then like sort of that game of telephone happens, right? Where like there's no actual quote attributed or context of this was the question, this was how he answered it. It's just like Sean Payton, expect more Audric Estime. We're going to see more of him. Folks, this is one of the reasons why the Coach Speak Index pretty important. We want to know all the context of a situation, no matter what it is, if it's injury, if it's usage and workload, whatever. Give us the full context. I want to know exactly what's going on here. I want to know exactly how the question was asked, how the question was answered, what we should take away from it. Let's not play fantasy football according to these telephone reports. Okay, let's play fantasy football with full context of what is being said, of what is being done. Sean Payton has a 50% reliability rating on usage and workload. Coach Speak, by the way, has a big strike looming on Marvin Mims, which we are still waiting for Sean Payton to give Marvin Mims all this usage and touches he's been promising for over a year now. Michael Phelps could not hold his breath this long. Sean Payton also has a potentially small strike pending on Jaleel McLaughlin. So yeah, we're just not believing whatever Sean Payton says on usage and workload. Coach Speak, he is unreliable. One more running back here. This is head coach Mike McCarthy on Rico Dowdle.
We go back to that Falcons game. Looked like the running game got going a little bit as the game progressed. What did you kind of see from just the rhythm that Rico kind of had, and then the offensive line working together?
Yeah, I think clearly giving Rico touches. We would like to give him some more touches. Obviously his ability not only to run it, but he's very effective in the passing game too. So, yes, the only thing that we really didn't do was to get more trips to the plate in the run game. But I thought Rico played very, very well.
This was Rico Dowdle's highest offensive snap percentage of the season, 71% of offensive snaps. Ezekiel Elliott missed this game because the team was disciplining him, sat him for this game. It seems like things may have been smoothed over. Not quite sure yet that Zeke will be back playing this week. Sounds like it's very possible. But yeah, Rico Dowdle getting a lot of work in Dallas. He's seen 6 targets in each of the last 2 games that he's played. So getting that receiving work is really, really big, especially in PPR leagues. And this is not the first time that Mike McCarthy has said that they want to give Rico Dowdle more touches. McCarthy has an 80% reliability rating on usage and workload. Coach Speak. I do expect Dowdle to sustain kind of a healthier workload and snap percentage. By the way, offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer also chimed in on Rico Dowdle, saying that he played great in this past game, really maximized his opportunities, ran hard, did some great stuff in blitz protection. Schottenheimer said, I thought it was probably his best game that I can remember him having just throughout the game in every phase. So that's really big. They've talked about his pass protection a lot this year and how much it has improved from last season. So them having faith in Dowdle in pass protection and being used as a weapon in the pass game, that's really, really big because that was kind of Zeke's thing. So knowing that they can get that from Dowdle and seeing them try to get it from him as well by using him in the pass game, very, very nice to see here. He gets 17 touches on 18 opportunities against the Falcons last week. Now, the big drawback here, of course, is that Dak Prescott is out, and we don't know how long he's going to be out, if he'll even return this season. So this offense is going to be worse without him. They'll have to rely on Cooper Rush now, and if that doesn't work out, then they have to go to Trey Lance. Not great for the offense, and defenses can now bring guys a little bit closer to the line, not have to worry as much about Cooper Rush killing them in the pass game as they do Dak Prescott. So that will make things a little bit tougher for this run game, which has already had some problems, like really get moving this season. Dallas has found themselves on the wrong side of some blowouts, and that's not good. They haven't scored much this year. So you want a running back on a team that is scoring touchdowns. Dallas is not doing really a lot of that, especially lately. So it's good that he will get increased work relative to the rest of that running back room. But Dak being out hurts Rico Dowdle's fantasy outlook in a real way. Okay, we have one wide receiver clip. Wide receivers. Got one here for you. And it's a very big one. Took up a lot of headlines and was talked about quite a bit this past week. And we probably have not heard the end of this saga. This is Cincinnati Bengals head coach Zach Taylor talking about the decision to sit Jermaine Burton in week 9 and what comes next. Give you a little bit of context here before this clip. Jermaine Burton, you're going to hear in the clip, they had plans for him to use him in week 9. And, we know the rookie's off-field issues coming into the league, and it seems as if they have resurfaced. This is a guy who there were rumors that he was falling asleep in meetings, and now apparently he, I believe, missed a meeting leading up to that week 9 game, and the Bengals decided to sit him. And this was a game where T. Higgins was out. Here's the clip.
Yeah. Yeah, Jermaine was a big part of the plan. And as the week unfolded, there was a lot of positive things people were saying about him, and it was all true. And then late in the week, we just got to handle all of our business the right way. And so I can sit here and say it was a difficult decision to make him inactive, but it was absolutely the right decision with all the information we had. And he's a guy who's going to have, I think, a really good career here. And we're going to support him, and he wants to help us win and do things the right way. And today was just a necessary step we had to make, but we're going to get him back in the fold and keep him moving along and becoming a pro. And there's a lot of things to love about Jermaine, so his best days are in front of him, and we're going to make sure he achieves that.
Is there any discussion of further discipline with him involved in this?
No, I think we'll handle it the way that we handle it.
What was his reaction?
Jermaine understands the situation.
I mean, when you guys drafted him, you stood up at that podium and said that you guys as an organization felt really good about the pick, knowing the character concerns that came with it. Do you still feel that way?
I do. I still think that his best days are ahead of him. We're going to help him get there. And he wants it for himself. We want it for him as well. Sometimes you have to do things that are like what we did to help him get to that next part. And he understands that, and we're going to help him get there.
Man, this is such a frustrating situation here because Jermaine Burton had an excellent opportunity in front of him here. And he has incredible talent. We haven't seen him on the field much this year. We've seen him catch 2 passes, each 40-plus yard receptions. And in each of those occurred in 2 different games, the only 2 games where he played double-digit snaps on offense. These are his snaps for the year so far. 4, 10, 3, 4, 1, inactive, 3, 24, inactive in week 9. I mean, this is so brutal. T. Higgins out. Prime opportunity for Jermaine Burton. He's heavily involved in the game plan that they have for him in week 9. And he just checks out. I mean, it's unreal. And the problem is, we don't know if this will ever get fixed. He doesn't seem intent on doing his part. He's a rookie. Okay. But he's an adult. And you've got guys in the room like Jamar Chase saying, I talked to him, but like, you can talk to a guy after you tell a guy once, like, what more is there to say? Like, he's an adult. He has to learn this stuff himself. He knows how important it is, or he should. It sounds like the Bengals are going to try their hardest to make him turn over a new leaf. But we've been through enough New Year's and resolutions. We know how tough that is. Even for things that are like easier to control than who you are. Every once in a while we'll see players overcome this kind of stuff, and it just, man, it doesn't seem like we'll get there with Jermaine Burton. Like, what's the wildest they could let him be, right? If you just know at some point, okay, this guy's only going to give us 70, 80% focus during the week. Like, at what percentage can you play that guy? Do you need him to be 100% locked in, or could you have just such an excellent talent, as long as he's not a distraction of, okay. It's kind of funny because we heard all this like falling asleep stuff about A.D. Mitchell. We haven't heard anything about, his work ethic being a problem in Indianapolis. But it is for Jermaine Burton, apparently, and it's really disappointing because this guy has such an incredible skill set. And I mean, Zach Taylor, when they drafted him, was so happy, just pounding the table. And I don't know if it was a plan of, okay, we've got T. Higgins, we're not going to re-sign him, but we'll have Jermaine Burton and Jamar Chase. I don't know what to do with Jermaine Burton going forward in future seasons. If the season were to end today and we get no more Jermaine Burton, or if it, let's say the season continues and we get kind of what we've been getting with Jermaine Burton, I mean, that's obviously going to depress his price even further next year. Like, maybe he's a late round guy. I think if he's a late round guy, like, you still want to take some I think maybe you want to take a decent amount of shots because the upside is so big. If he is able to turn things around, but the likelihood of that happening seems pretty low, and just very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. All right, before we sign off, gonna hit some things from the Discord. Didn't do many video clips this week. There's a lot of general manager press conferences as well. So when there's a lot of work, it's harder to clip more clips and put them up. I'm just kind of, okay, let's bang these notes out. Let's put them in the Discord and let's keep moving because, these 14 and 16 hour days can really get to you, and trying not to burn out here this season. All right. enough about me. Let's talk about others. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Head coach Shane Steichen. I posted this on Twitter. I just want to give it to you here. This is the timeline of Shane Steichen talking about the quarterback one role over the past 3 weeks. October 14th. When Anthony's healthy, he's our quarterback. October 28th. Right now, today, Anthony is the starting quarterback. October 30th. Joe Flacco is our quarterback going forward. November 3rd. Steichen is asked if Joe Flacco is still the starting QB going forward. Steichen said, right now, yes. Seems like he's softening up on the language a little bit. Maybe he sees that the coach speak index is tracking every word he says, and he doesn't want low marks on depth chart. Well, Shane, bad news, you've got low marks already on depth chart. So maybe be a little more honest with us. Maybe be a little bit smarter in the way that you operate. Okay. We've piled on Shane Steichen and the Colts enough. We'll let them wade in their misery as we move on to the Arizona Cardinals. And head coach Jonathan Gannon's Week 9 postgame presser, he said that he loved the distribution of carries in that game. He also said, I thought Trey Benson got going today. Thought he was running in there hard. He was finishing forward with his pads down. He's confident. He's playing faster. He's playing more violent. He's hitting holes. And then 2 days later, offensive coordinator Drew Petzing was asked whether there was an effort to involve Trey Benson more in Week 9. He said, I think it's a pretty similar effort every week. I think we always want to get him in the game. I think he's a dynamic player. I think he brings an element to our offense that we like. I think he's done a nice job of embracing the role he has. Petzing also said that Benson is thinking a little bit less. He's playing faster. I think you feel that. His decision-making, ball placement, some of those things are starting to show up. The thing that has been really consistent is his effort and energy in the game. And then said, I feel very good about his pass protection. I feel really good about all four of our backs in that role. So this is very good as far as the progression and development of Trey Benson is concerned. If you go back and look at what Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing have said about Trey Benson since the beginning of the season, we are seeing a clear progression here for Benson and things that they were talking about that he needed improvement in. They're talking about now as things that he's doing well, things that he's improved on, things that are becoming strengths. So very good for Trey Benson for his overall outlook for the future. As far as things stand right now, this is still James Conner's backfield. He is their workhorse. Jonathan Gannon has recently said, obviously, he's a workhorse, and he's running at an incredible level right now for someone who's 93 years old. I think he's like 29, actually. But again, another player that the team just can't shut up about. James Conner, we heard it all through the offseason. We've heard it throughout this season. And per fantasy points, this is, I mean, you would never guess the missed tackles forced leader. Well, I mean, I guess you would, because I'm talking about James Conner right now, so obviously it's going to be James Conner, but you wouldn't believe the gap, okay? So top 3 missed tackles forced so far this season from fantasy points. Second place is tied. 2 players, Kenneth Walker, Bijan Robinson, each have 31 missed tackles forced. 31, not too bad. Kenneth Walker, he's missed a couple games. James Conner, 54 missed tackles forced. Guy's an absolute beast. And he does it all. We know he's a great receiving back. Really good running back. Great in pass protection. Just unbelievable work ethic that the team can't stop talking about. Leader, all that stuff. He personifies what Jonathan Gannon wants in an Arizona Cardinal. So that's awesome. But still, if you've got Trey Benson in Dynasty, it's sounding much better for him now. And if something were to happen to James Conner earlier in the season, it's probably Amari DeMarcado that steps in and gets some work, not just Trey Benson. If that were to happen now, I'm sure it's more shaded towards Trey Benson that would benefit in that circumstance. Atlanta Falcons head coach Raheem Morris talked about Bijan Robinson's back-to-back 7-catch games, said that was kind of the vision we had early on of what Bijan could be. He is super dynamic. And on the very same day, offensive coordinator Zach Robinson spoke about Bijan in his presser, talking about how incredible it is that the running back is so slippery with a ball in his hands, but also so stout in pass protection. And then Zach Robinson repeated something that we heard in the offseason and that we have been seeing lately. Quote, as much as he can touch the ball, we're definitely going to try to do that. End quote. Very, very nice for Bijan Robinson, who, when Atlanta trails, gets a lot more usage. And when Atlanta is winning, we see them break out Tyler Algier a bit more. But when they've been winning lately, we also see a good deal of Bijan Robinson. So that is pretty cool. Los Angeles Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh said Ladd McConkey keeps getting better and better. Crisp routes, disciplined routes, finding the seams, finding the holes, doing a great job. Said he does not repeat errors. That is why he has grown so much. Tampa Bay head coach Todd Bowles said tight end Cade Otton has really stepped up and kind of taken over as the leading receiver since Mike Evans and Chris Godwin went down. Quote, he's really expanded his game, which is great to see. He's growing as a player, and the more he can do, the more we give him. And he's doing an awful lot, so we are giving him an awful lot. And Bowles was asked about Otton's biggest area of growth over the last year, said it's really been his route running. Not that he couldn't do it before, but we had other guys out there that we were asking to do that. And now you really see his route running prowess and precision that he has been asked to step up into a receiver role. Said we scheme him open and he gets open. Cade Otton has ended up as a real smash in fantasy thanks to Chris Godwin going down and Mike Evans being out. We'll see what happens when Mike Evans get back, but I imagine Cade Otton will still be very, very involved in this offense. And finally, we'll end with a couple things from Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell in his postgame presser in Week 9 said Josh Oliver was huge, fantastic blocker, physical all night long. In the next day's press conference, O'Connell talks about Josh Oliver again, saying that he brings a physicality to our offense. He has the ability to impact the pass game as well. He's big. He moves well. He has a great catch radius. And O'Connell said it was great to have TJ Hawkinson back out there, but the best thing was having that collection of three guys with TJ, Josh Oliver, and Johnny Munt. The versatility that they can bring, and said that with those three guys and CJ Ham, we can have fresh bodies setting the edge in the fourth quarter. That's a real positive for our team when we want to eat the clock. And the very next day, offensive coordinator Wes Phillips said, Josh Oliver is the best blocking tight end in the league. He's been a big part of why we've had some success on the ground. Okay, so wanted to talk about that from the Discord because this signals we might see a little bit less TJ Hawkinson than we saw last year, because this offense is a little bit different than it was last year. The Vikings like using 12 personnel. They really like getting Josh Oliver involved. Like Wes Phillips said, best blocker in the league, so physical. And as O'Connell said, he also can be used in the pass game, which we have seen lately. So with his emergence in the pass game, with how good he is blocking, they want him on the field a lot. Obviously, it'd be nice to have TJ Hawkinson out there as well, because he is such a weapon in the pass game. He's also a good enough blocker in his own right. But I'm a little bit afraid that this is not going to be just like a TJ Hawkinson show. That coming into the season, Kevin O'Connell talked about wanting to establish the run in Minnesota, and we've seen Minnesota run the ball a lot this year. So their pass rate over expectation, they are, I believe, in the top 5. But also, as far as like overall percentage of runs, I believe they're also in the top 5. And that is because, well, they've been winning, a decent amount of games. They've had leads, and they've been running the ball in those spots, and that's, you're expected to run the ball in those spots. But this is something that they wanted to do quite a bit this year. And, they absolutely love Aaron Jones all off season, just slobbering over how great this guy is. So knew that they were going to want to use him a lot in the run game, also in the pass game, which we have seen, and had the injury to left tackle Christian Darrisaw, which sucks, but Hawkinson coming back, and maybe we see some more 12 personnel now and some heavier kind of packages there. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about Hawkinson here. Running back wise in Minnesota, we saw Cam Akers take over that RB2 role in week 9. Kevin O'Connell addressed that, saying, quote, "We're still going to see Ty Chandler in the mix as well. It was really just kind of a situation where Cam gets off to a hot start. We were able to stack some runs on top of each other." The Vikings really did like Ty Chandler quite a bit, but it's pretty clear that they've kind of fallen out of love with him this season. They haven't talked about him really like hardly at all this season, and we were seeing Ty Chandler not run the ball well also. And Cam Akers, they get him back, which they had him last season, and then I believe traded him to Houston, and then acquired him back in a trade when Aaron Jones was dealing with an injury there. But he knows the system. Kevin O'Connell likes the way he runs. They like I believe it was Wes Phillips talking about the cuts that Cam Akers was making and how he just fits into this style that Minnesota likes to run, of like, he's just like riding the wave out there. Pretty clear that they prefer Akers here. And I mean, when we're talking about hot hand, getting off to a hot start, I mean, a lot of that hot hand stuff is just, okay, it's the better running. Obviously, the better running back is going to have a hotter hand. He's doing better stuff. So this is it seems to be Cam Akers would be the next one up if something were to happen to Aaron Jones. So Akers is not really playable. I mean, he's not playable. Let's not say not really. He's not playable right now. But if something were to happen, I think we would see more Akers than we would Ty Chandler. Okay, that is going to do it for today's show. Like And, if you want to comment, that's cool. If you want to subscribe, that's even better. There's no law yet that says that you can't do both. So, every person that subscribes is saying to, it's like a handful of corporations that I pitched the Coach Speak Index to a couple years ago before I just went ahead and launched it on my own. They said, nah, we don't know about that. We don't know if that would be like a popular or profitable or useful thing. We don't know if that sort of thing would become the number one tool in fantasy football. Every subscription to this channel tells them, you effed up, man. Okay? And just feels good to tell the corporation that every once in a while. So do it with any of your fingers. You can hit that subscribe button, but we know which finger we want to use in this instance. All right, cool. Sarah, please take us out.